whatever you do, ask questions. Whatever you do, send me a note, text me 312-405-8844. Either or, just communicate with me so I can be in the loop about how you feel about whatever it is that, in this case, that I'm talking about. We're going to start this live off with the website. So I'm going to open this up so you guys can see this website a little bit better here. Okay, let's spread this out a little bit more. And I think we're a go. So what I'm going to do right here, if you guys can see it, this here is our web page, and this is the Atlanta flyer. Now, what I want to show people first and foremost is the bandwidth that we're working with. Like, what areas are we in, and what it is that we're trying to accomplish in each of these areas here. So I'm gonna go right here. This is the website, www.National Block Club University. So when you get to this drop down menu here, it allows you to see everything that you can go on and review for yourself. So let's go and look at what we have here. Okay, I think we are queued up. I think everything is good. I think we are live for sure. Wife, can you check? Let me know if you see that we are live on Facebook as well. All right, so while we're checking on that, I think Facebook is streaming live, but we're recording either way, so I'm not going to keep us waiting. So we're on the website. I just want to real briefly let you guys know, if you go to www.nationalblockclubuniversity.com, this is what you will see. This here is the home page. You're going to see upcoming external events, meaning if you have an event, let us know. We'll put it up there. Contact us. Our VIP sponsors are our business people who are helping us financially. Then you see the every Monday safety day, every Tuesday education day, every Wednesday economic day, every Thursday health day, every Friday senior day, every Saturday youth day. You see our financials. You see Chicago. You see Team 1 business, Team 2 accountability, Team 3 safety, Team 4 education, Team 5 construction, Team 6 anti-racism, Team 7 food, Team 8 legal. And here's the bread and butter. This is what we're going to talk about today. Look at these cities: Atlanta, Birmingham, Boston, Cleveland, Detroit, Dallas, DC, Gary, Kansas City, LA, Memphis, Miami, Milwaukee, New Orleans, New York, Norfolk, Philadelphia, San Diego, St. Louis. Can't see, St. Paul, Minnesota. Then you have Africa. So a lot. That's a lot to cover, guys. The beauty is, when you think about violence in any of our inner cities, and I'm 45. I remember growing up in the projects where we were isolated, didn't have nowhere to go. I remember guys back in the day driving around the block over and over and over again, playing the same music because they didn't have nowhere to go. They were isolated. As you can see here, each of these cities are isolated, but because of this system we have here, they're no longer isolated, you guys. Each of these cities are linked together. We're gonna be traveling to each other's city. We're gonna put the finance behind travel. Travel is considered therapy. That's a way of looking at this thing. So let's start with who we are. Let's start with how large we are. So this screen here that's coming up is, we call it Cud's Tower. Cud's Tower. So now I'm gonna make some annotations here. So let me get to my annotation screen so I can walk you guys exactly where I want you to go. This is my little spotlight right here. There we go. So I'm gonna zoom in a minute. I want you guys to be able to see this. So let me go in a little bit, but see how large this tower is. It is 108 stories. 108 stories. So we're gonna start here at the bottom. Okay. All right. So let me bring my marker here so you guys can follow me. So right here, This is Chicago floors 1 through 20. These are the neighborhoods. Auburn Gresham on the 6th floor. Marquette Park on the 4th floor. North Lawndale on the 8th floor. Over here, Chatham, 15th floor. Washington Park, 13th floor. Bronzeville, 20th floor. Now, this matters because Chicago is a very large city. And so we took every neighborhood, black neighborhood, and linked it to a sister city. And I'm going to stay there. I'm not going to talk Africa today. I'm only going to talk about the linkage to the sister city. So each of these green is matched to these green across the country. Each of these yellow is matched to these yellow across the country. All this blue is matched to the blue around this country. Now, what this is, the reason I want to show you guys this, because we're about to go in depth on these sister cities and how we are going to create jobs, deal with blight, give hope, have people traveling all around the country, and we go link it all and show you guys how all this makes sense. If you look here, look at this page here. Let's go here. All right. Let me undo this. Let me clear this. Okay, so now why isn't it working? I don't know why it's not working. Clear all drawings. So we're going to stop it here. And we're going to go right into this right here. I am excited to show you guys this page right here. This page is so important, you guys. So important. So before I go into this page here, I want to get my annotations back again. Oh, there it is right here. Okay, so just so you guys know what I'm about to show you, so you know what you're looking at and why it's important. Every time we meet any person, if you refer your cousin, your auntie to us, there's a series of people in neighborhoods and cities that have some work to do just because you told us about your cousin, nephew, auntie, friend, co-worker. And so every person we meet, Mount Bayou, Mississippi gets involved. If you look right here, it says that the twice a year program. What this is based on your last name. Whoever you introduce us to, when we know their last name is Frazier or Galladay, Mount Bayou, Mississippi is going to get in touch with them and let them know every February and 6 months later, August, are the only 2 times we're going to bug them. The other 10 months, it's up to them if they want to connect. If not, that's fine. We're only going to bug them twice a year, February and August. That's if their last names begin with the letters, alphabets F through K. So my point is, every person we meet, Mount Bayou is going to play a role in organizing them for when there are 2 times out of 12 months that we ask them to do something. So GCA is Gary, Chicago, Atlanta. This is our headquarters. Chicago is the global headquarters. Atlanta is our winter headquarters. That's when I'm down hibernating during the winter. Gary, Indiana is our administration headquarters. So imagine 35 acres of land in Mississippi, and we section it off and we bring these offices. These 7 offices are needed anytime we do anything because we're in 20 cities. So each of these offices are a region. LA and San Diego is a region. So any people we meet based on their last name will get sorted here and communicated to them here. Dallas and Memphis is another region. Any Dallas person we meet, they'll get sorted here and communicated to. Detroit, St. Louis, and Milwaukee, that's a region. Anyone we meet there, they're going to get sorted based on their last name, and they're going to be communicated that to. Kansas City, St. Paul, and Cleveland, KSC region, same thing. MBN, Miami, Birmingham, and New Orleans. We meet any person there. This is the office that's going to process that. And then BPDNN, Boston, Philly, DC, Norfolk, and New York. Any person we meet here, again, we're going to find out what 2 times out the year, based on their last name, that we're going to communicate to them when the nation needs them. So that's the setup. Once you guys see this, over here is the housing, because the key is we want people to be able to come here and spend 90 days to up to a year here. We want people to come and stay and help build. So if you come to Mount Bayou for 1 year, the housing is here. You'll be getting paid, so you can go and live off base. That's fine. But if not, at least we provided you a housing. If you in Gary, Chicago, Atlanta, you stay here. Miami, Birmingham, New Orleans here. Dallas, Memphis here. As you can see, parking over here, lunchroom here, restroom here. If you want to chill out right outside the housing, that's fine. But all our guests won't be able to get back there to the housing because it'll be sectioned off. So just, if you let your imagination go, picture this. This is Mount Bayou, Mississippi, 99% black, okay? Now, watch this. So that's Mount Bayou. Now let's go to the next one. And I need to shrink this just a little bit so I can move this around here a little bit. Okay, so let's go to the next one here, you guys. Okay, here we go. This is FALCON, Mississippi. This is a small town, 180 people in this small town, and they're gonna be the main source for all donations. Every person we meet, we're gonna ask them for loose change. We're gonna ask them for $12 a year. We asking some of them for $100 30-day loan. So all requests for money is coming out of FALCON, Mississippi. Again, anyone in Philly we asking for money is gonna come out of FALCON, but it'll be this office. Anyone in Cleveland we asking for money go come out of this office. Anyone in San Diego we asking for money out of this office. FALCON will be responsible for making sure that the 40 million black people in the U.S. is donating, and all the money they're donating is helping out all around the world. So that's phenomenal, I believe. That's FALCON, Mississippi. I already showed you Mount Bayou, Mississippi. So now let's go to COAHOMA, Mississippi. COAHOMA, right here. COAHOMA role, national role, and this is a small town of 300 people, I believe, is 4 charities. 4 charities. So COAHOMA is going to ask every person we give information to about the 4 charities that they support. Why does this matter? Because if we synchronize who we're supporting, if we find out in Miami that 10% of the black population is supporting the Red Cross, what we're going to do is coordinate that with our Chicago Red Cross people, our Norfolk Red Cross people, so we can make a bigger impact donation to them. So 4 charities is going to allow us to pool money together and have bigger impacts when it comes to the charity of your choice. We're going to do that with up to 4 charities of your choice. This is going to give the whole movement a greater power, because now these organizations will come to respect you more because you're bringing more money to them, and the organization more because they see the collective power that we have. So that's COAHOMA's job, with 40 million black people to do that with. And the last one under Mississippi is METCALFE, Mississippi. Now, METCALFE is another small town. All of these are small towns. So METCALFE, Mississippi, their role with us is dealing with name your 4 black businesses. METCALFE, Mississippi, they name your 4 black businesses. Why does this matter? This is humongous. If black people don't look at money, have a better relationship with money, like Chinatown, Greektown, Little Italy, we're going to continue to see every other group exploit us, because what we're doing, unfortunately, is we're not keeping money touching our hands at least 4 times a month. With every Wednesday being Economic Day, we're saying every Wednesday, can you go and find a black business to support? And at the end of the month, if you can't name 4, it gives you a chance to look in the mirror and say, what happened that I couldn't at least 4 out of 30 days go and spend money with my own people, just like Chinatown, Greektown, Little Italy. So again, this trailer here in METCALFE will deal with Detroit people. Can they name 4 black businesses? The Detroit businesses should be excited that all the way in METCALFE, Mississippi, they calling, asking Detroit people to come spend money with them. In San Diego, this trailer, the people working there are going to be calling getting people to go into black businesses in San Diego and being able to name they four. In New Orleans, this trailer is going to be doing that work. So I want you guys to see how in all these small towns, we're given purpose so that they can participate in helping us as a whole do better, so that we can collectively do better. Now, let's get to the last section. This is going to be a little longer here. That's rural America's role. Let's get into what the urban neighborhoods are going to do. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road at, you guys. So under this format here, this is about going into blight and creating positive and productive energy. Going into blight. These are blighted neighborhoods. Blighted neighborhoods. Each of these. We have a history of going into areas where most people have given up on. They fly dump, and we build it up and have people coming over there to have a good time, to fellowship with each other, and to get ready for the future. So this is Boston, Massachusetts. They're linked into us and on the west side of Chicago, 60612 zip code. And this is the Boston, Massachusetts 7 blighted block layout. So similar to what I just showed you in rural Mississippi, but here, everything we're asking Boston to do is dealing with science right here. So Boston is our national headquarters for all Black scientists. So if Boston is successful, we're going to be able to have scientists from all over the country financially support Boston, because Boston is keeping up with the paperwork, the recruiting, and the marketing for all things dealing with science. So let's break this down so you can see it. So here, Boston is right here. It's in the BPD-NN region. So this is the Boston section. So what we're saying is we're going to pick a vacant block where there's not a lot of activity. We're going to set up our 3 chairs and run business in this blighted area. One of those chairs go deal with communication on our conference call line, our Zoom line. One of those chairs are going to deal with people who drive up and want to know what the heck you're doing sitting in front of this vacant building. So they're our outreach person. And then the other one is going to deal with the supervisory or coordination. This person here is going to know the bigger picture of what we're doing and who's connected to what. All right. So one person is don't have to be very knowledgeable about what we do. They're just handing out flyers to people that want to know a little bit more. The next person is the person on the conference call line, linking that neighborhood with the rest of us all over the country. Then the person in the middle is kind of like the supervisor. So imagine those 3 people here on the other side of town in Boston, here on this side of town, this blighted part of town. They're responsible for all Kansas City, St. Paul, and Cleveland people who are scientists. Then on the other side of Boston town is the LA, San Diego, 3 people working, who's concerned about all the San Diego scientists, LA scientists. Over here on the other part of Boston town, they're responsible for Detroit, St. Louis, and Milwaukee. You see where we're going with this? So 7 different parts of Boston will have 7 people assigned to manage each region of America when it comes to science. That's it. So I'm going to be able to go faster to the other slides because I just wanted to show you the layout. Gary, Chicago, Atlanta is the headquarters, but in this case, because this is Boston, they're in the first position and we're in the second position because we're doing some other things. So every city has its specialty. Every city has their once a month meeting date. We call it the summit. It's the 3rd Tuesday here, every 3rd Tuesday. So when they over here on the west side of Boston meeting someone and someone say, I want to be a teacher, that information is going to come in and it's going to go to Gary, Chicago, Atlanta, so that the right city that manages teachers will get that person's info from Boston. And once that person's info hit Boston, they're going to get it to, in this case, Kansas City, because that's in charge of all our teachers. And that's for any career field. So anytime we're deployed meeting people in Boston, any information that's not dealing with science is going to go to the right city so they can process it. Every one of our cities are going to deal with the conventions. Conventions are big for what the future looks like for us, you guys. So imagine tours, summits, and conventions to make the Black society thrive. Like, picture that right now. People sitting around as we speak right now, bored with nothing to do. And I get it, we in COVID-19, but even if COVID-19 wasn't here, our people was sitting around not being excited. Now, because of tours, summits, and conventions, now you got vibrancy, and vibrancy goes against the people that want to do you harm. They love isolation. We're bringing vibrancy to 7 blighted areas in Boston. And all of them, as they're meeting people, they're going to tell them when the convention is. This is the science convention. They're going to, if they're not into science, we'll be able to tell them every week's convention coming out of Gary, Indiana. That's a beautiful thing, you guys. Chicago tour. Every 4th Saturday of the month, people from all over the country are asked to come to Chicago to get a national update. We've been Zooming that national update, so you guys will continue to be able to see what all parts of Chicago, all parts of the nation is doing in conjunction with Chicago. Then the Mississippi deployment, I just got through showing you guys Mount Bayou, METCALFE. So every city should be sending people down to Mississippi to help with what we're doing. What do you think? What do you think? That's not it. Information acquisition. Boston should be meeting people and getting that information in. That's the acquisition part. Boston processes any information dealing with scientists, all right? They don't hand that off to nobody else. They process it, meaning they type it up. They get it into the other files with the rest of the scientists. They store that information. Where are these scientists? Then they manage it. Every 3rd Tuesday, they update that list. Who died? That's a scientist. Let's move them over to ancestors scientists. Who's new? Let's get them added to that list. But Boston manages all lists dealing with scientists all over the nation. Then, of course, when you need that information, they're there to share it. So that's Boston's contribution to what we do. I'm gonna go quicker now. This is Los Angeles. Same format. So I don't have to spend that much time here because you understand it now. But I just want to talk about the subject. So LA is our headquarters for all things dealing with entertainment, from music to sports to dance and to, in this case, theater, acting. So if you're a 16-year-old that want to be an actor, LA is going to get your information. If you're a 16-year-old from Chicago, this office is going to deal with your information to help you. If you're a dancer from New York, this office here is going to process that information, meaning every 1st Tuesday of the month, you're going to be asked to get on the phone, Zoom together with other people in entertainment all over the country. That's LA's contribution to this Black society. All right, let's go to the next city. Next city is where I am, the Atlanta, Georgia area. So let's talk about what role this city plays in the national agenda. So let's go here. This is it, ATL. Their focus is all of our police and firefighters. They're dealing with safety, you guys. So anyone that's a police officer out of Chicago, they're going to manage that here. If you're a police officer out of Detroit, they're going to manage it here. It's going to give us a reason to be on these blighted blocks with 3 chairs and inviting the community to get involved. Tell us who you are. The minute you tell us your last name and your phone number, we know that's going to Mount Bayou so they can let you know what 2 times out the year we need you. So every 2nd Tuesday is Atlanta Summit. The Gary Summit will be happening once a year. So let's move on to the next city. I can speed up now because you get it. I know you guys get it. Hopefully you're excited about it. So next we got Memphis. So let's get to Memphis, Tennessee. Let's go right here. Memphis. Memphis handles all things dealing with journalists and poets. We got quite a few poets. That's every 3rd Sunday of the month is the Memphis coming together. And when Memphis come together, they discuss journalists and poets. And it's going to be 7 blighted areas that we're going to set up shop in for all things dealing with journalists and poets. No matter where they at in the country, these officers are going to manage that. And they're going to have their once-a-year convention out of Gary that keeps Gary vibrant. Then you move on to the next city. We're dealing with STL, St. Louis, Missouri. They are dealing with all our lawyers, judges, and that's every 4th Tuesday. And the lawyers convention out of Gary will be, I believe, is every July. But no matter the 7 areas they ask us to, go in, because those areas that need help, we know anyone we meet that don't want to be a lawyer, we're going to get that over here to Chicago so they can get them to the right city for whatever it is they care about. Think about how significant that is. We're talking about beginning ages of 5 or 6 years old, being linked, being in a pathway to a profession, and having someone in your life to help you along the way. That's going to be game changer for Black society right there. Then we got Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham. Birmingham is responsible for all things dealing with the food industry, chefs. So any chefs you got in San Diego, they're going to handle it. Chefs in Birmingham, they're going to handle it. In Miami, they're going to handle it. Chefs in DC, they're going to handle it. As you can see, 21 cities handling chefs. And then they're going to have every first Sunday is Chef Day and Birmingham Day. And once a year, they're going to have a chef convention. And with all of these conventions, we'll eventually get sponsors so we can have more marketing. But the main thing is who's getting the Black chefs together. And when you get them together, what is the plan? Where are we headed? So that's what I'm excited about. Let's go here. Now we're going to move on to the green region. This is Detroit. Detroit, right here. This is the D, as they call it. Detroit. Detroit deals with all things dealing with physical labor. So all of our mechanics, bricklayers, carpenters, electricians, HVAC, welders, painters, plumbers, anyone dealing with the physical labor, Detroit, Michigan is our headquarters for that. And so if you're in St. Paul and you're a mechanic, this is the office that's going to keep up and manage and coordinate for you. If you're a Philly mechanic, they're going to take care of you in this office. The point is, the new Black society says no matter what you do, we've designated a space to handle that for you and to help grow and remove barriers for you in this world. So every fourth Monday is Detroit Summit, meaning the people of Detroit get together to talk about what's important to them. And they also have a conversation about the U.S. agenda. And the construction convention is always in December. Then we moving right along. We got Norfolk, Virginia, y'all. Norfolk, Virginia. Norfolk is all about, as you can see here, Norfolk is all about veterinarians. So when we look at Norfolk, it's really all about the animals, who's caring for the animals. We have a lot of Black people that have pets. And so this where this comes in, that out of Gary, we have an all Black pet supply store on 39th and Broadway. So, I believe everyone in Chicago and Gary should go out there and support that brother and overwhelm him with so much purchase of supplies that he's so excited he's ready to open up another business. We're not there yet, but that's what I think should happen so that we can encourage him to keep the faith and not to give up. All right, so let's move on. Wait, let me tell you when they meet. So this group meets every first Friday of the month, Norfolk. Let's move on. What does New York City have for us, you guys? New York City, major, 3 million Black people in the state of New York. New York manages all things dealing with engineers and techies, IT professionals. Every third Monday, they meet out of New York. They do the engineer and IT convention out of Gary. And again, 7 different places in that town of New York that need to have people out there bringing positive energy to that neighborhood. And any person we meet, we ready to deploy them and get them going and changing their life around. Now that's some beautiful stuff. All right, let's get to Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. Some of us haven't been there. We got to get there. The African Museum is there. D.C. handles all things dealing with finance and business. So this is our business area. And again, every one of our satellite offices, we want to make sure that they are well versed on business and finance. Every third Monday of the month is when DC meets. And well, it's really every second Monday. I got to fix that. New York is every third Monday. But DC is every second Monday. They meet and discuss ways forward dealing with business and finance. All right, let's move on. This is St. Paul. Now this is San Diego. St. Paul is next. Okay, so San Diego is West Coast. As you can see here, this region, LA and San Diego. And what their role is all things dealing with gardens. This is huge because we should be growing our own food. So San Diego is integral when you think about it from that standpoint. Every first Monday is their day, and we want to help our brothers out there get out here to Mississippi, to Georgia, to Atlanta, to Chicago. We want them to travel. So the conversation is different in their world as a result of them traveling. All right, then we got St. Paul. St. Paul. Let's go to St. Paul, you guys. So St. Paul is responsible for all things dealing with politicians. There they go right there, St. Paul, Minnesota. So when we do the every second Friday of the month report cards, this is where it's coming from, every second Friday report cards. And so again, who all wants to be a politician and those who are politicians, we want to work with them. But there is some accountability that must take place, and it's not personal, it's across the board that we want to make sure we hold our elected officials to account for what they do. All right, so that's the 7 offices we're going to open up in St. Paul, Minnesota. Now let's get down to the blue now. So here we go. Blue is New Orleans. Look at New Orleans. Their role for the New Black Society is dealing with all travel agents. If you're in Chicago, you're in an intense environment and you need an outlet. You need to be able to get away. And this is our great people like Crystal Dyer, who has a physical travel agency. She's one of our sweethearts, one of our superstars. And so again, her coordination is coming out of this office right here, because she's in Chicago right there, and she's a travel agent. So this office is making sure that they support what she does. Every first Saturday is New Orleans Summit. Every first Saturday they meet. The travel convention coming out of Gary, Indiana. So that's another 1-2 punch. And again, each of these locations throughout the city of New Orleans is a chance for us to meet new people, get them recruited and on board based on what they say that they care about. Then we move on to today. Let's go here. Every second Saturday, which is today, is Kansas City Day. Kansas City is responsible for all our teachers. Now that's a big doggone deal. All of our teachers, and that's today. So every second Saturday, which is today, making sure that these 7 offices are ready to give an account for what we did to help and support our teachers. So thank you guys again for that and what you do every day. Now let's get on to Philadelphia. Philly is important, you guys. Philly is really, really important, because when we talk about missing Black women, we talk about missing children and whatnot. Philly is responsible for all things dealing with investigations. This is big. So that way people don't feel comfortable kidnapping our people. They don't feel comfortable doing things to our people, because they know we have a national structure that's up and running. And every 3rd Wednesday is when Philly meets to make sure that we keep it together. Every 4th Saturday, Philly coming to Chicago, and they're in charge of all investigations. And again, the setup is the same. Who in New York is investigated? Who in St. Louis is investigated? These are the officers that will keep that list and massage the relationships of the people inside of that list. All right, we almost there, you guys. We almost there. So Dallas is the next one. We got 3 more to go, 4 more to go. Dallas, Texas. What does Dallas do for the New Black Society? They deal with all our nurses, pastors and coaches, all the people that care for people. So again, Dallas is in this region here, Dallas and Memphis. So they move into this slot, and they're going to make sure that any nurse we meet, they go here and get processed, get layers of support. Dallas meets every 3rd Wednesday. The nurses have their physical convention in Gary once a year. So that's that setup. And so we're moving right along. We get to Milwaukee. Milwaukee is not that far away from Chicago. What does Milwaukee do? Milwaukee is responsible for all our designers, graphic designers, web designers, our disc jockeys, DJs, and our photographers. So here, this is our creative spirit here. And again, they're sitting here in one spot because that's them, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Detroit. We want to make sure that we circulate money to our apparel people, our people who are designing stuff. And every first Wednesday is when Milwaukee meets. They had a photography convention once a year. So that's the benefit of a 7 blighted area in Milwaukee. We come in and turn that baby into a vibrant area where people feel safe coming out at night. All right. So let's get on to the next one, which is Cleveland, Ohio. So Cleveland, just talked to my brother Jarrell in Chicago, and his family is from Cleveland. So I'm looking forward to linking in with his family, every third Saturday is when Cleveland meets, and they manage all things dealing with doctors and dealing with dentists. That's what this zip code does. So that's the setup right there. And it's coming out of Cleveland every third Saturday of the month. So that's coming up this third Saturday. 2 more to go, you guys. So let's get to the MIA, Miami. Miami is important for an additional reason, and that's the weather. So when we get cold up north, Miami is a refuge. So I hope you guys will be saying, hey, what work you got down there? I want to get down there. It's cold up here and it's warm down there. Miami deals with all things dealing with sales. So this kind of, you know, people who have the gift for gab. But in Miami, these 7 offices that's blighted, we're going to occupy them and turn them into real offices where the neighbors feel safe, because they have a structure out here that's keeping things queued up and being dealt with. So that's what Miami's contribution is. Every 4th Saturday, they come to Chicago, someone does, and support the national effort that we have. And then finally, the last one is Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana, my second hometown, Gary, Indiana, right there. So Gary is responsible for all 52 weeks of conventions. So that's going to be big. And every 4th Wednesday is when Gary meets. So that's a big deal. Every 4th Saturday is when Chicago meets. So that helps us when it's time for us to be together and do a synchronized meeting when we in the same region like that. So that's a good thing. All things Gary does is deal with paperwork. All book authors is under Gary. Clerical assistants and librarians all under Gary to find out how things are trending and how they can get more layers of support. That's coming out of Gary, Indiana. And more importantly, Gary manages all things dealing with Mississippi and rural America. All right, I can end this screen here. Knew that was a lot to talk about. So I can end the screen, and I just want to leave here. It's so many great people responding to the ills in our community, doing wonderful work in the lives of people, making a difference. I want to make sure you guys know there's a difference between feeding a person and teaching them how to feed for themselves. And what I would like to think what we're doing here with this system and this infrastructure is we're allowing people to be who they are and have layers of support. Be who they are and have layers of support, so that way they can do whatever it is they aspire to do, but have backup. And I'm 45, too long in my 45 years, I didn't see that backup. Well, that's the beauty of what we built here, is we got it set up where your backup is your zip code leader. You didn't even know you had one. So how do we make this work? How long will it take for all of this to come to fruition? My rule is 96 hours. It's 4 days. And that's dependent on a lot of factors. Number one is if we can get people to pour money into this right now or right away. Every delay, it delays us. Every delay delays us. Every time we pour money in, that gives us more capacity and bandwidth to onboard someone, or to get more printing and mailing to someone, to get more money done, to be able to help finance someone's trip to Georgia. So that's the benefit of expedited $12 a year or loose change. So www.nationalblockclubuniversity.com is the website. www.nationalblockclubuniversity.com. All right, stay strong, be blessed.